Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Spiritually Speaking 7 coming to you with a video about Nature Boy and Eliana. And in this video, I am going to discuss Nature Boy and Eliana's relationship, astrologically and numerologically speaking. And then I will go into my thoughts about the live that they both did together on Instagram Thanksgiving Day. With that being said, let's get started. Okay, so for those of you that's in my astrology class and for those of you that I've given readings to, pay attention to what I'm going to be saying because this is going to be an opportunity for you to learn. Okay, let me bring up Nature Boy's birthday. Okay, so Nature Boy's birthday is... Well, let me just do Eliana's birthday right quick. Eliana's birthday is February 17th. I do not have her year. I do not have her birth chart, her natal chart. But however, I've been studying astrology for 23 years and growing, so I have other methods that I can use to determine some things, which I will describe as I go along. So Nature Boy is April 29th, 1982. That's his birthday. And again, Eliana's birthday is February 17th. Okay, so Nature Boy's birthday, when you add it up, it comes out to Life Path 8. So that's Nature Boy's birthday, Life Path 8. And Eliana, her day, 17, is an 8. Okay, so for those of you I have given readings to who have had this in your numbers, what do I tell you? I always tell you that 8s are very fortunate. Okay, fortunate in the sense of finances. It's not going to be a problem for them to get the money that they need to do whatever it is they need to do. People give these people money. These people just always seem to be able to make a way, financial-wise. And they get left in people's wills as well. If these people were out, if they were out working, they would get the money. If they had some kind of talent that they could go out there and share with the world, they would get the money. And even if they're not just doing anything, they will get the money. The 8s just, get money given to them. I have a daughter who has a Life Path 8, and people are always giving her money. Always. She's very fortunate. I have a sister who's a Life Path 8. Everything just gets given to her. No matter how wicked these people are, but who have the 8 in their numbers, they always seem to be fortunate financially. And I think this kind of, having that fortunate number, it kind of enables them and makes them think that they're not, doing anything wrong, because why do they keep getting what they get? Like, I have a lot of challenges with my sister. Me and her have gotten to it a lot of times. She always talks about how blessed she is, and she justifies that the wrongdoing that she does is, she must not be doing that wrong because she's so blessed. But let me tell you, that don't mean nothing. It's just, you were born on a day that makes you more fortunate. It makes you have to work less harder than others. People just tend to give you things, okay? That's number one. Number two, 8s are very bossy. They like to run shit. They always got to be the one in control of everything. Even when they're not well versed in an area, they will still try to come in and tell you how to run your situation when you've been well versed in this area for I don't know how many years. I know an 8 that was taking a class, that she was taking a math class, and she started telling the teacher how to run his math class and how he should correct the papers and have the assignments turned in and things like that. This is what 8s will do. They will just go in to any realm, even realms they've never been in before, and they've been in for the first time, and they will start sizing up how things can be done so much better and so much proper. They will give you a job to do. Yes, they are very bossy, okay? So when Eliana said that she didn't become chiefess to run Nature Boy's holes, as she said, she may not have intended to do that, but it was no problem in her doing it. It was no problem in her falling into that role because she already had it in her to be bossy and to run, to want to run people. Okay, so with them both being bossy, Nature Boy and Eliana. Before I go into that, let me break this down too. Eliana's birthday, February 17th. February 17th, Eliana's birthday. That gives her an attitude 1. So, for those of you in my class, what do I tell you about the 1? I tell you that the 1s are either the oldest child, the youngest child, the only daughter, the only son, the black sheep of the family. And I can see Eliana becoming the black sheep in the sense that she's going to be estranged from her family, because she chose to be in a relationship where she has to prove to the one that she's with that she loves him. And it started out with her having to disrespect and put her family down to prove her love for him. So that's how it's going to end. And that's why we still see them on the air doing, online, on Instagram Live. We see them still doing the same stuff they had been doing before. Her coming online, disrespecting her family, calling her mama her Babylon mom, which, is disrespectful to me. You were just living with your mom. Your mom supported with you when you came back, and now you calling her your Babylon mom again? And then your father, regardless of what your father did in the past, why do you keep dredging that up? You're supposed to be in a blissful, loving, happy relationship. You're supposed to have everything you need, but yet you keep bringing up what your father did in the past. Now, I don't know about y'all, but me personally, when I'm in love, I'm not trying to even talk about nothing negative. I'm not interested in nothing negative. All I'm interested is in my happy and loving situation. I'm trying to love everybody. I'm trying to have everybody experiencing the same love that I have when I'm happy and in love. So I just, they're repeating the same patterns. And I'm going to go into why they're repeating the same patterns of their previous first time around, their previous relationship. But before I do that, let me go further into her 1. 1s, they're natural leaders. They're very independent. And they, no matter what, they always have like a childlikeness about themselves. No matter how grown they get, they have a childlikeness about them. And we can see that in Eliana. And also, 1s like a lot of attention. Okay? Even if you give them a job to do, they'll help you out. They can be helpful. But if you're not praising them and telling them how well they did in their job, they lose interest on the job real quick. They lose interest real quick. They can be very self-centered. It's all about them. Okay? The 1 is symbolic to the sun, and the sun rules Leo. And, Leos want all the attention. They want it to be all about them. And Nature Boy has a Leo moon. So they both have this in common with wanting to have all this attention, okay? But this attention is going to be their downfall. That's what's going to be their downfall. Okay, not only that, Velvet is her birthday falls up under the 8 of diamonds, and that even contributes even more so to her being fortunate as far as financially. More so for her than for Nature Boy. Even more so for her. She's very fortunate as far as the destiny card that she falls up under, which is the 8 of diamonds. And Nature Boy is fortunate too because he has a life path. But we see the 8 being repeated twice for Eliana. And it also confirms even more so that she really wants to be in charge. Okay? Nature Boy, his day is the 29th, which breaks down into an 11. And Nature Boy also has a Jupiter square the moon in his chart. So whenever you put Jupiter with any planet, whenever Jupiter is aspecting any planet, it blows up the planet is aspecting. So being that the moon rules emotions, this is the reason why, when he's all in his emotions, it's always a big, huge show for everyone to see. Plus his moon is in Leo. So it just intensifies his emotions and it draws the attention to him, and as we can see when he's, really upset and emotional, he has to have all the women around him catering to him. And, moon rules the women as well. He has to have all the women around him catering to him and making him feel better about himself. So, the 29 breaking down to 11 shows how very sensitive he is. He's a very sensitive man. And When we take that 11 and add it to his month, we get a 6. So Nature Boy he does have a generous side to him too, but he has Mars and Libra. And whenever, if any of you out there ever dealt with the Libra energy, one thing about the Libra is when they give something to you, they always expect something in return. They have an expectation always. They may not ask you tomorrow or the same day or a week from now or a month from now, but trust me, they're going to come back expecting for you to balance them out on whatever it was they had done for you in the past. Okay? Now let's get to the planetary influences of Nature Boy and Eliana. I can't remember what Nature Boy's destiny card is right now, but I remember hers because that 8 of diamonds is so damn fortunate. It's like the most fortunate out of all of them. So I didn't forget hers, but I remember their planetary influences when I looked it up. And their planetary influences is Uranus. That's the first one. That's their first connection, Uranus. Okay? The second one was Venus. The third one was Mars. The fourth one was Venus again. And the final one was Mars again. So they have Mars twice in their planetary influences, and they have Venus twice, and they have Uranus once. So what this tells me is that the love was very natural for them. There is love there. It was very natural for them. Now, when people don't have Venus, they have to work harder towards the love. They have to work on the love, build the love up. But when they already have the Venus there, which these two have it twice, the love comes naturally. It doesn't have to, you don't even have to put too much work in for it. It just comes naturally. Okay? So the love is there for those of you who are asking me, do I think Nature Boy loves Eliana, and do I think she loves him? Yeah, the love is there. It's obvious. Yeah, they do love each other. This is true. And it's not a hard love. It's an easy love. It's a love that, because I've experienced this Venus placement. It's a love that even when you don't see that person for a long time, when you see him again, the love is still there. Whether you're with them or not, you still feel that sense of love. But as we all know, love is not the only thing that can keep, two people together. Even when you have love, you have to put the work in. Even when the love is easy, you still have to put the work in. Even when a parent loves a child, that child still has to get chores around the house. If you're going to do what's best for this child, if you're going to teach them how to be responsible, you still have to give them chores. You can't just drown them in your affections and your loves and affections. You have to balance that love out with teaching them and showing them so they can be able to take care of themselves when you're not around. That's the best love you can get them. So even when you have this Venus like this twice, you still have work to do to make the love be, more attractive to stay in. Now, the two Mars planetary influences that they have Mars twice. Mars is really good for sex. Okay, when you put that with Venus, it's really good for sex. Okay, so these two enjoy each other very much so sexually. Whenever you had that Mars and that Venus connection with your person of interest, the sex is going to always be good. Okay, so this is the reason why we see these two, especially Eliana, because she's younger than Nature Boy, so he's probably the best sexual experience she's ever had, and she's an Aquarius, and Aquarius, they're attracted to the unusual. That's why she likes the fact that he's she likes the fact that he's a lot older than her. I think he's like damn near 12 years older than her. She likes that. I've always seen Aquariuses with older Aquarius women with much younger Aquarius men, or younger Aquarius women with much older men. And did I say Aquarius men early? That's not what I meant. I meant whoever they hook up with, whoever Aquarius hooks up with. If it's a woman and she's younger, the man is older. If she's older, the man is younger. Aquarius just goes against the grain. It's ideal that a younger woman be with an older man, or you be with somebody the same age as you. But with the Aquarius, it's going to be always some type of extremeness in the relationship. Some extreme difference. She's super duper light. The other day I was looking at her and she damn near looked white. She looked clammy white. And Nature Boy is he's really, really dark skinned. That's attractive to her as well. She's attracted to that. And so she's really fascinated with Nature Boy. She has her Mars in Libra, and Nature Boy has his Venus in Pisces. Whenever you put Libra and Pisces together, being that Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Libra is ruled by Venus, well, Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So this is like, the highest experience of love that you could experience. Experience feeling. It's very euphoric. It's a euphoric feeling. And so that just reconfirms that they love each other and that the sex is great between these two. And but the only thing is that, having Mars twice, having it once, you can kind of handle that. But when you have it twice and you're not doing the work on yourself, you're not doing the work within the relationship, it could be extremely challenging in the sense that, Mars rules Aries. And Aries is about that war. Aries is about having their way, and it has to, Mars has to move. It has to get things done. It has to make things happen. And it gets bored with routine. So I don't really see how these two can fully express all this Mars energy if they're not doing anything, if they don't have anything going on. From what we see, they're always online, trying to prove to the world their love, show the world their love, disrespecting people in Babylon, disrespecting their family to prove the love to each other, repeating the same old patterns over what they did the last time they was together, getting online. That's going to get played out like it did the last time. That's going to get played out. They got to find something else to do, these two. Eliana, she's lazy when she's in carbonation. She's not doing shit. She don't even cook Nature Boy his meals, and he not cooking that for her. That's not a good way to express the Mars energy in any type of relationship. Mars has to make things happen. Now, I'm not going to even say what needs to get done. I'm kind of saying it without saying it, but I'm going to shut up on that part there. That Mars is going to create problems with those two. It's going to make them, always fighting and arguing with each other and trying to have their way. They both want to have their way. Now, when we look at the Uranus, okay, the Uranus aspect of their relationship, Uranus rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is the rebel. So these two are very much so rebels together. They have a strong Aquarius influence in their relationship. Eliana having Mercury, Venus. I believe her Mercury is in Aquarius. I'm not for sure, but she was born February 17th. So I'm going to say her Mercury's in Aquarius. And she has Venus in Aquarius, and she has her sun in Aquarius. So that's the rebel. And then Nature Boy has Uranus in the first house. He was born with the planet ruling Aquarius rising up in his first house. And it's opposed Mercury. So these two very much so have a relationship that's a rebel relationship. And this is the reason why they're disliked by a lot of people, because they don't have a problem with hurting people's feelings and disrespecting other people to prove their love to people. And it upsets a lot of folks. It upsets a lot of folks, And the way that they got together was very unpredictable, because nobody predicted that Nature Boy would do Omic like that. Leave that man in a hotel and that man was a member of his group. He was one of his followers, like anybody else in that group is. He could have did that to anybody in that group. Left him in a hotel and took that girl and went on about her business. And you see how neither one of them felt guilty about it? Neither one of them felt like they disrespected that man, and neither one of them, showed any accountability for how dirty that was. That could have been any carbonation member that Nature Boy did that to. That Nature Boy and Velvet did that too. So here we see, the rebellion and the rebel of Uranus being played out in that sense, just not giving a damn about what anybody else thinks. And we also see it, Uranus is the planet of surprises too. And it's very unpredictable. And who would have thunk that once these two got together, all this shenanigans would have came about because of these two. And we're going to continue to see some shenanigans between those two, because their first Their first planet is Uranus. Their first planetary connection is Uranus. So everything about their relationship is unpredictable. Everything. Unpredictable, shaky, rebellion. Everything about their relationship. Now, Velvet has a Libra rising. At least that's what I heard her say. And Nature Boy has Mars in Libra. Now, for those of you in my class, I teach you that Aries rules the first house. So therefore, that first house planetary ruler is always going to be Mars. So whenever you're looking at two people, the chart of two different charts of two different people who are in relationship to each other, you're looking for, the connections of what brings them together. And Nature Boy is the one who went after Eliana. And the reason why he's the one who went after her is because his Mars falls into her first house. Because she has a Libra rising and he has Mars in Libra. So if we were to overlay his chart over her chart and place the houses on top of the houses, his Mars in Libra would be placed on top of her Libra first house, putting his Mars into her first house, the house that it rules. And all planets want to be in the house that they rule. That's their natural element. So this is the reason why he went after her, because Mars is the chaser. Mars, wants what it wants. Mars goes after what it wants. And so this is the reason why he went after her. He was attracted to her. He was attracted to her physically because her rising sign is Libra and he has Mars in Libra. And for those of you in my class, if you read the readings that I posted about Mars, Mars is symbolized as the penis. Okay? When you look at the symbol of Mars, it has the nut sack on the back of it. It has the line going up with the arrow on the end, which is symbolic to the head of the penis. So Mars wants to be at home because being at home is like being in its vagina, so to speak, the vagina that fits it perfectly. So these two have a dynamite sex life, okay? They just do. They feel very comfortable having sex with each other. And that's another thing that ties them with each other. Another thing that ties them to each other, I believe, is because Nature Boy has a lot of feminine in his chart. He has a lot of feminine energy in his chart. He does have Moon in Leo, which is masculine, and he has Mars in Libra, just like Eliana has, which is masculine. But the thing about Libra and the planet Venus is a hermaphrodite. So even though Libra is a masculine sign, being that it's symbolized by the scales, it has a masculine and a feminine energy to it, even though it's masculine. Okay? And I'm going to break that down in another class, okay? And I'm going to say something about that later on in this video. But let me get back to what I was saying. Okay. So, Nature Boy has Venus in Pisces, which to me is one of the most feminine attributes you can have in your chart. Venus in Pisces. He has a Scorpio rising, which is feminine, and his sun is in Taurus, which is feminine. And this is the reason why he goes out of his way to try and convince everyone that he's an alpha male, because he doesn't want us to really know that feminine side of him. Because the feminine side of him and the sensitive side of him that I spoke about earlier has caught him a lot of heat growing up. It's caught him a lot of heat in his younger years. His brother spoke about how Nature Boy wasn't really a fighter. And I even talked about it in my video about how he's not a fighter. He's really a lover, actually. With his birthday and month adding up to a 6, he's really a lover and he's really a nurturer. And he's full of love, actually. I know a lot of you guys don't believe this shit, but according to his chart and according to what I've observed about him, he is. He's just trying to figure himself out, and he's going down into a little rabbit hole, but I'll get into that later. So anyway, this is the reason why he wants everybody to believe that he's an alpha male and that he's so strong and he's so powerful, but that's just an act, which he's capable of putting on thousands of acts, as we have seen right before our eyes. Venus in Pisces is a great actor. And having Jupiter in the 12th and having Moon in Leo even confirms it even more. So, he's been putting on an act for us as far as, trying to convince us that he's an alpha male, and this is the reason why he has to have all these women around him. Now, I believe that, and I could be wrong, but to my understanding, Eliana, baby Eliana, is his only baby girl. The rest of his children are boys, and I could be wrong because I don't know what the gender is of Pocahontas' baby, but nevertheless, he never met that baby. So, Eliana, baby Eliana, came out of her mama looking dead up on Nature Boy, and she's a female, and Nature Boy saw her born, and I feel like this is another reason why he feels like Eliana is, he wants to keep a hold of her. Because not only does he love her, not only does he enjoy the sex with her, not only does he enjoy her company, but this woman reproduced a baby girl who looks just like him. And no other woman has done that for him. So he holds her high up on the pedestal. And Velvet Eliana knows this. She knows this about him. She knows that. And that's one of the things that she can use against him. That's his kryptonite. That's kind of his kryptonite. Okay. So, this is his opportunity to nurture his feminine self through his daughter. This is what I feel about him. And that's one of the strongholds that Eliana has on him. And she knows this. Okay. Now, with them both having Mars and Libra, I feel like this is the reason why Uranus might be their first connection, because Libra is symbolized by the scales, and when you put Mars in the scales, you get like a seesaw effect. You get a seesaw effect, and this is why the people are always accusing them of being flip-floppy. Serenity also has Mars and Libra, and we see how flip-floppy she is. And before I go deeper into that, I just want to say, isn't it interesting how Serenity got her karma real quick and fast? She disrespected the people who supported her for Nature Boy, and when Nature Boy got ready to do what he wanted to do for him, he didn't even consult with the girl, didn't even consult with Serenity, didn't even think about her and the fact that she said he was her immortal God and her immortal chief, and he was the Messiah, and he's this and that. He didn't care about the fact that she sacrificed the people who had supported her for him. He didn't care about that when he went on back to Eliana. And I told you guys, when everybody was asking, is Serenity going to go back to carbonation? I told you guys that she hadn't gone back yet, that she probably wasn't going to be going back, because she has Mars and Libra too. And people who have Mars and Libra, they just have this flip-floppiness about them. I have one that lives in my house. I'm raising one. And her energy is very annoying. I don't like it. They're very indecisive. And they're opportunists. And whenever they want something, whenever they need something from you, like with the girl that lives in my house, she knows that I need her to do things around here. And a lot of times she won't do the things around here. But if she needs something and if I see her washing the dishes or vacuuming the living room, I know she's finna come ask me for something. I know she is, because Mars and Libra always have an expectation for you to do something back for them if they've done it for you. Okay. And like I said, Mars and Libra creates a flip-floppy energy, and it makes the people go from, okay, this is beneficial for me today, so I'll go with this. And then if it's not beneficial for them tomorrow, they'll go with that. And they don't care if it hurts anybody else, because Libras never take the blame. For those of you who have Libras in your life, they never take the blame. It's always somebody else's fault. Okay? That's one of their challenges. They have to learn how to take the blame. They have to learn how to be accountable. Every sign has a challenge. Every sign has something it has to overcome. And that's one of the things, the issues that Libra has to overcome. But getting back to the seesaw effect. When you get on the seesaw, there always has to be somebody on the other end to make it go up and down, right? Okay? So think of, Mars rules Aries. Aries has to have its way. And the opposite of Aries is Libra. So Libra, whenever you're looking at opposite signs do the same thing, but they just do it a different way. But you can't see it because it's coming back at you from a different direction, you see. Whereas Aries is forceful in getting his way. Libra is more subtle in getting their way. And they usually do it through charm, and they can be pretty aggressive with it. And if the charm doesn't work on you, they can turn violent. They can turn angry, get mad, punch walls, all kind of shit. So in order for the seesaw to work, there has to be one person on one end and another person on the other end. And in order for the person up in the air, in order for the person who's on the downside of the seesaw to get a chance to go up, they have to push their feet off the ground to give the other person to go down, right? So it's always the one who has their feet on the ground that has the power. So with Nature Boy and Eliana, they take turns giving each other the power. This is what they do. They take turns doing whatever they have to do to convince the other one that they're being loved by the other one. And when the one who's on the upside of the scale, the one who's winning at the time, is the one who's running shit. And so they're going to forever have this seesaw effect where they take turns letting one run shit, and then one has to be on the low side, submitting to the other, and then the one that goes up in the air now has to give the one that's on the low side a chance to submit to them. So they're going to always go back and forth with submitting and then demanding their way. Submitting and demanding their way. I submit, now I demand my way. I submit, now I demand my way. And the other one is going to always give the other one a chance to do it, because the one that was in the superior position knows that they've been in superior position for several months now. And the one fair thing to do is go on ahead and give the other one a chance if you want to make this shit work. Okay, so right now, Eliana is on the high end of the seesaw, and Nature Boy is on the low end. They both have Mars and Libra. Mars has to express itself, and Mars has to have its way. And Libra will give you that, but you got to give it back to them. So we're going to constantly see this seesaw effect between these two, and I believe that's the reason why they have the Uranus as their first planetary influence. Okay. Let me see. What else did I notice about? Okay, so Eliana has a moon in Cancer, and a lot of people ask me about her and Omic. What did I think about her and Omic? Okay, on that, I'm going to pause the video because I'm running out of time. Let me pause this. I'm going to come back and do a part 2.